what happens when the exact coping mechanisms you use to, like, survive a miserable, suffocating life become the literal weapons your abuser uses to destroy you?
Oh, wow. We are going right in.
We are. Because, like, what happens when the fantasies you spin just to get out of bed in the morning are handed to the police to prove you were completely unhinged?
It is a mess, an absolute mess.
It really is. Welcome back to the Snark side, everyone. Snark Squad babes, we love you.
We truly do.
Honestly, wherever you are listening right now, whatever you're doing, like whether you are stuck in soul-crushing traffic on the 405 right now,
Ugh, the worst.
or, hiding from your boss in the second-floor bathroom, or just aggressively speed walking through your neighborhood on your stupid little mental health walk. We love you for rocking with us. We really, truly do.
Oh, we so genuinely do, because, let us be entirely real for a second, the shared delusion is everything.
Yes. The shared delusion.
Like, the absolute unbridled chaos of this fandom and the fact that we can all gather here to dissect human garbage fires on television is the only thing holding us together right now.
It is the glue. It is the literal glue holding my life together.
Right. It is a beautiful, messy, deeply unwell community of people who just appreciate the fine art of a psychological spiral. Like, if we did not have this, what would we even do with our time?
I do not even want to know.
Go outside, talk to our neighbors. Absolutely not.
Exactly. I would cease to exist. But before we even touch the absolute mess that is our television screens today, we actually need to start with something very real.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Because, babes, we cannot sit here and watch a show called Imperfect Women, right? A show that literally dissects the rotting core of female friendship and marital trauma, and not talk about your therapy session last week.
Oh, wow. Okay. We are really doing this right out of the gate.
We have to unpack this.
Like, no warm-up. We are just choosing violence and extreme vulnerability before the Aperol Spritz has even had a chance to hit the bloodstream.
We are doing this. I need the community to know the truth. The Snark Squad needs to know that we are in the trenches with them.
In the trenches. Yeah.
We're all about self-growth and soft chaos here.
Oh,
it is giving, like therapy talk. It is giving. We are trying our best, but still judging everyone. Tell us everything.
Fine, fine. Look, it is the therapy spiral. Everyone knows the one.
Oh, we know it.
You wake up, you have your little iced coffee, you go in thinking, I am going to crush therapy today. Like, I am going to be so articulate, so emotionally intelligent, and so self-aware that my therapist is going to close her notebook, give me a gold star, and tell me I have officially graduated from mental illness.
Yes, you feel like an ascended being.
Exactly. You walk in feeling like a highly functioning adult, and then you actually open your mouth and start talking.
Yes, the whiplash. It is the highs and the lows. Because the highs are genuinely amazing.
They are, for a minute.
You get those magical 5 minutes where a breakthrough hits you out of nowhere, that sudden crystal clear clarity where you are like, oh my God, I do self-sabotage when I feel perceived.
Right.
I do push people away because I am terrified of intimacy.
Right.
Like, you feel like you are actually doing the work, fixing your toxic traits, and evolving into your highest self.
Right. For about 5 minutes. But then the lows hit.
Oh, the lows are brutal.
The absolute bone-deep emotional exhaustion. You walk out of the office, you sit in your car in the blinding daylight, and you just stare at the steering wheel for 20 solid minutes.
Completely paralyzed.
Completely questioning every single life choice you have ever made since, like, 2014. The post-session overthinking is lethal.
The vulnerability hangover of epic proportions.
It really is. You start wondering if you accidentally manipulated your therapist. You wonder if you sounded too dramatic.
And we have to talk about the sheer mortifying awkwardness of the actual session. Because nobody talks about the lived-in, deeply uncomfortable physical details of going to therapy.
Yeah, the physical details are the worst part.
Like sitting in that weirdly quiet waiting room with the fake plants and the white noise machine that sounds like a muffled jet engine.
Yes. The white noise machine.
Mentally rehearsing your opening line so you do not sound completely broken.
Yeah?
Sitting there thinking, do I say, hey, crazy week? Or do I just start crying immediately?
Oh, the start of the session is undeniably the worst part. The heavy wooden door closes, you sit on the overly squishy couch, and there is that horrible, suspended, suffocating silence.
It is so loud. The silence is so loud.
Do I make eye contact? Do I stare at the woven rug? Do I look at her notebook and try to use my peripheral vision to read her upside-down handwriting?
Yes. Trying to see if she wrote narcissist in the margins.
Exactly. Like, am I supposed to start speaking or does she prompt me? It is excruciating. You feel so weirdly exposed, like a bug under a microscope.
I just want to take a second and say shout out to all the babes working on themselves.
Absolutely.
Shout out to everyone sitting in those uncomfortable silences, staring at the woven rugs and trying to be better, even when it is ugly and embarrassing. We see you.
We do.
We respect you. 2026 is your year. You are doing the heavy lifting.
It is your year. But also, let us be realistic. It is perfectly okay if your year involves a lot of complaining to your friends immediately afterward.
Oh, totally encouraged.
Healing is not linear, and sometimes it really just feels like you are paying a highly educated professional to watch you unravel in real time. It is a process, a messy, expensive process.
So true. But speaking of unraveling, we shifted the energy back UP last night.
Oh, we definitely did.
We took a break from the emotional labor. Because, babes, we did something incredibly FUN. We went to a mixology and bartending class.
We tried. Anyway.
And let us just say, our drinks have officially been elevated. We are no longer basic.
I would not go as far as elevated. Let us manage expectations here.
What do you mean?
I would say our drinks are marginally less disastrous than when we free pour cheap tequila in your kitchen at 1 a.m.
Excuse me, look at these glasses. For the babes watching the video feed, yes, we are drinking our signature Aperol spritzes.
Obviously.
But look closely. Look at the rim of the glass. Do you see that? Babes, we added garnish. We have a dehydrated orange slice. We have a beautifully slapped sprig of thyme. Growth. We're practically hospitality professionals now.
I mean, getting to the garnish part was a deeply traumatic journey. I have never in my life seen someone spill so much simple syrup in a 2-hour window.
I was trying to do a trick.
My shoes are still sticky. The floor of that bar sounded like Velcro every time we took a step.
I was trying to do the little silver shaker flip thing. The instructor made it look so effortless.
It was not effortless for you.
I was trying to serve face, look professional, and give off high-end cocktail lounge energy. But I ended up laughing hysterically, dropping the tin, and then harshly judging your concoctions.
Hey, my concoctions were fine.
Yours tasted like straight rubbing alcohol, regret, and bad decisions.
Listen, I was pouring with intention. I was going for a strong, spirit-forward profile.
Sure you were.
But honestly, watching us try to look suave behind a bar, like aggressively muddling mint like it owed us money, made me realize one very important thing.
What is that?
We are officially one step closer to securing a sugar daddy.
Oh my God, yes.
Because let us be honest, this feels like a survival skill we could absolutely use when our primary careers tank.
Completely agree.
Dentistry alone. Not cutting it in this economy. We need options. We need to know how to make a perfect Negroni for a man who owns a fleet of yachts.
Oh, absolutely. I am fully, unapologetically leaning into the delusion of this fantasy.
As you should.
Catch me at a dimly lit, high-end hotel bar in a silk trench coat, casually twisting a flamed orange peel over a crystal glass, just waiting for a man with a trust fund and 0 heirs to walk in.
A man who is hopefully nothing, and I mean nothing, like the absolute monsters on the show we are about to discuss.
Ugh. Do not even get me started.
Because if there is one thing this bartending class taught me, it's that we need to keep our drinks very close, and our enemies even closer. Especially if your enemy is your own husband.
Yes. Perfect pivot, because we desperately need to get into this.
We really do. Pour your garnished Aperol, hold on to your emotional support water bottles, lock your doors, and smudge your living rooms. Because episode 7 of Imperfect Women just sent us into a full-blown, absolute, undeniable spiral. I am still vibrating with rage.
The title of the episode is Fabulation. And it is incredibly fitting.
So fitting.
Because the sheer volume of lies, gaslighting, coercive control, and absolute fiction being spun in this single hour of television is staggering. It is a masterclass in psychological warfare.
Babes, I am still physically shaking from the opening 10 minutes of this episode.
Yeah.
We have to start with the hospital horror.
It was brutal to watch.
Artemis Marion Howard's sweet, innocent daughter is in the hospital fighting for her literal life. She was unresponsive. She overdosed on Adderall.
And we, the audience, know exactly who put those pills where she could reach them.
Howard, her own father.
We need to slow down and really unpack the sheer diabolical nature of what this man did. Because it is so easy to just scream at the TV, but the mechanics of this are chilling.
They are evil. Pure evil.
Let us look at the facts. The pills were hidden inside a vintage mint tin. That tin was placed on the absolute highest shelf in the kitchen cabinetry.
The top shelf.
Right. Artemis is a small child. She does not have a step stool in the kitchen. She does not have go-go gadget arms. She does not have the wingspan of an albatross.
Literally impossible for her to reach.
It is physically impossible for her to have accessed those pills on her own. Howard purposefully, calmly reached up to that top shelf, took those pills down, and deliberately placed them in a location where his child would consume them.
Or he just handed them to her.
Exactly, knowing it would poison her.
Just to frame Mary, I am screaming. I was pacing my living room. Who does that?
A monster.
Who poisons their own flesh and blood, puts their child in a coma just to win a domestic argument with their wife. It is sickening.
It is not just an argument, though. This is the behavior of a textbook malignant narcissist operating under extreme threat.
100%.
We are watching coercive control escalate into physical violence by proxy. Howard is 10 steps ahead. He is playing an entirely different game.
He is playing chess while Mary is playing checkers.
He knows that Mary is closing in on him. She knows he murdered Nancy. So what does a predator do when cornered? He neutralizes the threat.
It makes me sick to my stomach.
He weaponizes Mary's very real, very vulnerable history of substance issues. He creates a scenario where if Mary runs to the police screaming, "My husband is a murderer,"
They will not believe her.
Exactly. The police will just look at her and see a negligent, hysterical addict who just put her own daughter in a coma. It is evil, yes, but strategically. It is devastatingly effective. It discredits her instantly.
I was reacting so emotionally to this scene. Like, how was Mary not physically fighting him in the waiting room right then and there?
Because she is in shock.
I would have thrown hands the second the doctor walked away. I would have tackled him into the vending machine. The sheer superhuman emotional restraint it takes for Mary to just stand there in that sterile hospital hallway.
Looking at him.
Yes. Looking at the man she married, knowing he just poisoned their baby to trap her. It is too much. The betrayal is unfathomable.
She does eventually snap, but first he hits her with the ultimate devastating blow. The legal system.
Oh, the legal system. Do not even get me started.
Because abusers love to use the courts to do their dirty work, the caseworker from Child Protective Services and the local police show up at the hospital.
And they pull Mary aside.
They hit her with an emergency protective order, effective immediately. She has to vacate her own home, and she is barred from having any unsupervised contact with her minor children.
I felt my stomach physically drop to the floor. The heartbreak of motherhood in this scene.
It was incredibly heavy.
I need to talk about Elizabeth Moss for a second, because she acted her absolute face off.
She always does, but this was different.
The way her jaw trembled, the wild look in her eyes, you could feel the visceral primal terror of having your kids ripped away by a manipulative monster who you know is dangerous. She knows Howard is a murderer, and now the state is legally mandating that he gets sole custody.
It is terrifying, and look at how perfectly Howard is isolating her. This is Abuser 101.
Literally from a textbook.
It is a systematic dismantling of her life. Step 1, discredit her character. Step 2, remove her access to her children, which is her core motivation for living.
Her only reason to live at this point.
Step 3, make her look unhinged to the outside world so nobody believes her. He backs her into a dark corner where her only remaining option is to surrender and rely entirely on him.
It is so dark.
And if you bring in the context of Elizabeth Moss's real life, this performance makes complete sense.
Yes. Oh my God, babes. If you have not read the interview with Elizabeth Moss that dropped this week, she talked about this exact dynamic.
She did. It was fascinating.
She had her first child in real life recently.
Right.
And she noted that, yes, she has played mothers on screen for years. I mean, The Handmaid's Tale, hello? She's the queen of suffering mothers.
The absolute queen.
Yeah. But she said that transitioning into real-life motherhood fundamentally changed her acting. It made these specific scenes terrifyingly raw. Her quote was, "Your head just goes to a darker place faster, and the emotion is just closer to the surface."
And you can see that. You absolutely can. It is not just acting. It is a primal biological reaction being caught on film.
It really is.
When Howard finally corners her in the hospital, away from the cops, and softly asks her where it is, meaning Nancy's ring, the ring Mary found hidden in his closet.
The tension is suffocating.
She knows he killed Nancy. She has the physical evidence. She found the ring. She found the torn Latin translation page from his poetry book that links him to the crime scene. And she finally confronts him right there in the hospital.
And what does Howard do? Does he break down? Does he confess? Does he show a single ounce of human remorse?
And no.
And no. He deflects with terrifying precision. He looks at her dead in the eyes, completely calm, and tells her she is the one who is going to be arrested for the pills.
Calmly, just calmly destroys her.
He calmly explains that she is going to lose custody forever and rot in a cell. That is the breaking point. That is when Mary absolutely loses her mind and physically attacks him.
As she should.
She lunges at him. And babes, the rage I felt, my blood pressure was spiking.
The rage is completely justified, especially because of his reaction to her attack. It is an Oscar-worthy fake victim routine.
It really is.
Mary is hitting his chest, screaming hysterically that he poisoned their daughter, and Howard does not fight back. Instead, he just holds his hands up in a defensive posture, looks over her shoulder at the approaching cops.
And gives them that look.
Right, the look like, hey guys, she is just really upset. It's okay, honey, calm down, stop. He plays the calm, collected, endlessly patient husband dealing with an erratic, abusive wife.
I hate him. I hate him with the fire of 1,000 suns.
I mean, he is awful.
He is a bald-headed, broke, scallywag demon. I am sorry, I have to channel my inner internet commenter here because he is the literal worst man on television right now.
From a psychological standpoint, what he is doing is called DARVE. Deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender.
Wow. Yes, that is exactly it.
He denies poisoning the kid, attacks Mary's credibility as an addict, and reverses the roles so that he is the victim of her physical assault in front of witnesses. It is a masterclass in manipulation.
And it works perfectly on the police.
Which is exactly why things go so terribly wrong when Mary actually tries to go to the station to report him.
Oh, the police station.
Yeah.
This scene was a train wreck. A literal train wreck.
So hard to watch.
Mary goes to Detective Gantz. She brings the ring. She brings the torn poetry page. She is finally ready to lay it all out. She sits down, explains the affair between Howard and Nancy, and points the finger directly at her husband for the murder.
And Detective Gantz just sitting there.
Staring at her. Completely unimpressed. Cold as ice.
Because Howard, being the calculating sociopath that he is, beat her to the punch.
Of course he did.
Howard went to the police station earlier that morning and turned in a box of Nancy's belongings. Belongings that he claimed Mary had been hoarding.
Belongings that Mary had actually been stealing for years.
The audacity, the sheer unmitigated gall of this man to out her like that. But also, babes, we have to pause and talk about the fact that Mary is a straight-up kleptomaniac who is deeply, weirdly obsessed with her dead best friend's life.
It is very weird.
I was scandalized. I had my hands over my mouth watching the detective pull these items out of the box.
It really is where the absolute messiness of these characters shines through. Howard turns in this box to prove that Mary was obsessed with Nancy, painting Mary as a jealous stalker who might have killed her own friend.
Which is such a smart move by him.
And the detective slowly pulls out the items: expensive earrings, luxury perfumes, a monogrammed handkerchief.
Like, Mary, girl, what are you doing stealing monogrammed handkerchief?
You cannot wear that.
You cannot pull that off. It has a giant N embroidered on it. You are not an N. You cannot explain that away. Do you think you were going to blow your nose at a dinner party and nobody would notice? It is not just the stealing, though. It is the psychological revelation of why she was stealing. This brings us to the title of the episode.
Fabulation.
Right. Fabulation is not just lying. It is the act of constructing elaborate fictional narratives, often because the person's actual reality is too painful or inadequate to bear.
So true.
Mary was not just taking souvenirs. Howard tells the detective, and then cruelly throws it in Mary's face later, that they used to do this deeply unsettling role play in the bedroom.
I can't even think about it without cringing.
Mary would dress up in Nancy's stolen clothes, wear Nancy's jewelry, spray Nancy's perfume, and they would go to hotels and role play as Nancy and her husband, Robert.
I had to pause my TV. I had to get up and walk around my apartment. I needed air.
It was a lot to process.
I was like, Mary, sweetie, you were cosplaying as your wealthy, glamorous best friend to spice up your completely dead marriage.
Yeah.
And you were having your broke husband pretend to be her rich, powerful husband.
It is dark.
That is so dark. That is a level of identity diffusion that requires years of intensive therapy. It is deeply, deeply weird to wear your best friend's skin, metaphorically speaking, to get your husband to sleep with you.
It is the ultimate fabulation. She was spinning a fantasy to escape her own life. But this revelation raises a huge, incredibly uncomfortable question, and we need to debate this later.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
Did Mary's weird, immersive cosplay accidentally trigger Howard's obsession with the real Nancy? Did she basically hand him the menu, point to the lobster, and say, look how appetizing my best friend is?
Ugh, I hate thinking about that because I refuse to victim blame Mary. I will not victim blame the fabulator.
We will get into it in the reality check segment.
Good, because Elizabeth Moss actually addressed this exact dynamic in her interview.
What did she say?
She said she did not make him a sociopath, but that instinct to be aspirational was already there in him. Howard was already fundamentally broken.
He definitely was.
He was already a dangerous, covetous man. We cannot forget what he did to his ex-wife, Jenny. Remember the massive scar on Jenny's back from when he threw her down the stairs?
I agree that Howard is a predator. He specifically looks for fragile, insecure women that he can hollow out and control.
Exactly.
But anyway, regardless of who is to blame for the origin of the affair, this revelation completely destroys Mary's credibility with the detective.
It totally tanks it.
Detective Gans literally looks at Mary and Eleanor, sighs, and delivers the most savage, devastating read of the entire series. She says, in all my years, I have never seen a group like yours. You are not friends.
And she was right. The detective finally spilled the tea that we have all been yelling at the screen since episode 1.
They are toxic.
They are not friends. They are a group of miserable women bound together by jealousy, toxic secrets, and geographic proximity.
Yes. But Eleanor, bless her messy, interfering heart, is still trying to help Mary solve this. She sets up a covert meeting with a private investigator.
Which brings us to the crime scene field trip.
This entire sequence felt like a premium true crime documentary coming to life.
It really did.
Eleanor, Mary, and the PI go to the dead zone under the bridge where Nancy's body was discovered. And the PI starts breaking down the literal physics and mechanics of the murder based on the forensics.
The details were so gruesome.
The killer shoved Nancy into the concrete wall hard enough to smash her skull. Then they dragged her dead weight by the ankles toward the water using 2 hands.
Right.
But halfway there is a shift in the drag marks. The killer stopped, dropped a leg, and switched to dragging her with just 1 hand.
The smoking gun. Or like the smoking arm, I guess.
A smoking shoulder.
Because who do we know in this cinematic universe
Yeah.
who has a highly documented chronic shoulder injury? Howard freaking Simpson.
It matches perfectly.
He physically could not drag her dead weight with both arms for that long. His bad shoulder literally gave out mid-drag. It is the missing puzzle piece.
It is brilliant circumstantial evidence. It perfectly aligns with his physical limitations, which we have seen referenced multiple times. And this discovery leads Mary to make the most reckless, desperate, adrenaline-fueled decision of the entire episode.
I was screaming at the TV telling her not to do it.
She ignores the strict legal boundaries of the protective order, breaks the law, and sneaks back into her own house in the dead of night to dig through the filing cabinets.
Looking for the medical records.
Right, to find Howard's medical records to prove the shoulder injury to the cops.
And of course, because Howard is a literal sleep paralysis demon who apparently never closes his eyes, he catches her in the act.
He is always awake.
Always. And babes, the blackmail scene that follows in the dimly lit living room, it chilled me to my absolute core. The way Corey Stoll plays this scene is terrifying.
He is such a good actor.
He does not scream. He does not throw things. He is so quiet, so disturbingly reasonable, which makes it 10 times scarier than if he were yelling.
It is the Jenga metaphor. Howard is not just threatening her, he is carefully pulling out every single block that holds Mary's life together, showing her that he can make the whole tower collapse with a flick of his wrist.
That is exactly what it is.
He lays out the chessboard and shows Mary she is completely, utterly in checkmate. He tells her in this soft, menacing voice, "Go ahead, turn in the medical records. Maybe I go to jail for a very long time.
Right.
But guess what happens to you? You are a documented addict. The police think you just poisoned your kid. Your mother cannot take the children because she runs an illegal, unlicensed pot farm.
Right, the pot farm.
Eleanor cannot take the kids because she is currently implicated in an active murder investigation. So if I go down, the kids go to the state.
It is so messed up.
They go straight into the foster care system, and you will never see them again.
I was spiraling. I was literally clutching a throw pillow on my couch, spiraling.
Yeah.
Because she is so incredibly trapped.
He boxed her in perfectly.
He systematically dismantled every single escape route she had. He forces her to make an impossible choice. Get justice for your murdered best friend and put your husband behind bars. Or keep your vulnerable children out of the foster care system.
And for a mother, there is no choice.
Exactly. For Mary, there's not even a choice to make.
Elizabeth Moss said it perfectly in her commentary. Who gives a shit about the affair at this point? The only thing that matters to Mary in that living room is her kids.
Nothing else matters.
The murder, the cheating, the lies, the profound disrespect, none of it weighs as much as the threat of her children being handed over to strangers.
Which leads to the most humiliating, heart-wrenching surrender I have ever seen on television.
It was hard to watch her give up like that.
Mary leaves the house, gets into Eleanor's car, and they drive away. But a few blocks down, Mary realizes what she has to do. She makes Eleanor pull the car over.
And she just gets out.
She gets out, leaves her shoes in the car, and she literally walks barefoot on the cold asphalt back to her house in the middle of the night. She walks through the front door, looks at this monster of a husband standing in the foyer and says, "I will not say a word. I will be good." Babes, my heart shattered into a million pieces.
It is a devastating, unflinching portrayal of an abusive dynamic. She chooses the devil she knows over the terror of the state system.
She sacrificed everything.
She sacrifices her entire identity and her pursuit of justice to be a human shield for her children. But the one chaotic variable that Howard, in all his arrogant planning, did not account for
Is Eleanor.
is Eleanor.
Yes. Eleanor goes completely rogue. She wakes up in the morning, finds Mary gone, realizes exactly what Mary did, and says, "Absolutely not on my watch."
Eleanor's not playing by Howard's twisted rules. She storms right up to Robert's massive mansion.
Can we please talk about Robert day-drinking yak in his dark mahogany office?
Just casually sipping expensive cognac at 10 a.m. while his entire life falls apart.
Iconic, honestly. But anyway, Eleanor storms in and spills everything. She tells him about the affair between his dead wife and Howard. She tells him about Howard's shoulder injury perfectly matching the drag marks.
In the ring.
And she tells him about the stolen ring. She demands they use their influence to call the police chief directly.
And Robert's dad, the absolute epitome of toxic wealth, privilege, and moral bankruptcy, refuses to call the police chief because he is worried about bad press.
I wanted to reach through my flat screen and shake that old man by his cashmere lapels. A woman is dead. Nancy was murdered.
He does not care. He only cares about the stock price.
But Robert finally finds his spine and steps up. He looks at his dad and basically threatens to expose all of the family's illegal offshore accounts, shell companies, and shady business dealings to the feds if his dad does not pick up the phone and make the call.
The rich privilege finally gets weaponized for the right reasons.
Exactly.
It is the only language a man like his father understands. Leverage. Threaten the money, and suddenly they care about justice. So the call is made from the top down.
And the very next thing we know, the cops are rolling up to Howard and Mary's front door with a warrant.
The arrest scene.
The cops knock on the door, pull Howard outside, and tell him he is coming in for questioning regarding the murder of Nancy. And Howard, being the raging paranoid narcissist he is, immediately assumes Mary broke her promise and betrayed him.
Naturally.
He looks back at her standing on the porch with such pure, venomous hatred. Mary is panicking, crying, begging him, "I did not do it, Howard. I swear I kept my promise. It was not me."
And in his final ultimate act of pure distilled spite before getting into the back of the squad car, he looks at the arresting detective and demands that DCFS be called to take the kids right then and there.
He is just so evil.
He weaponizes the system one last time. He loudly declares that Mary is an unfit addict who cannot be left unsupervised with the children. Even when his own life is over, his final priority is ensuring Mary is punished.
The gut-wrenching scene of Mary sobbing on the porch as the social workers physically put her kids in the back of a sterile sedan and drive away. Babes, I was weeping. Real tears were falling into my garnished Aperol spritz.
It was brutal.
I mentioned this earlier, but the behind-the-scenes detail on this specific scene is crazy. Elizabeth Moss requested to shoot her close-up coverage first before any wide shots.
Right, because of the emotional toll.
Because the tears and the hyperventilating were so real, she knew she physically could not fake that level of hysterical grief for multiple takes. You are watching a real, visceral, biological reaction to the horror of a mother losing her children to the system.
It is the nightmare scenario fully realized. Everything Mary sacrificed, her dignity, her truth, and her freedom to prevent, happens anyway.
The Jenga tower falls.
The tower falls, and just when we were sitting on our couches thinking, okay, Howard is finally going down, the system worked, justice is happening,
The writers laugh in our faces.
the show violently yanks the rug out from under us in the last 60 seconds.
The final twist. Mary is sitting alone in her empty house, staring blankly at the TV and breaking news flashes on the screen. The anchor announces that an anonymous tip has pointed the police to a brand new, highly credible prime suspect.
Scott Reed.
Scott Reed, Nancy's deeply abusive stepdad.
The very man who traumatized Nancy in her youth. The monster from her past. The news anchor says the police have newly acquired video footage placing Scott Reed at the park on the exact night of the murder.
I lost my mind. I screamed at my dog.
He is now the prime suspect, and Howard's arrest might just be a misunderstanding.
Did Howard set Scott up? Howard is 10 steps ahead. Did he orchestrate this anonymous tip as a failsafe?
Probably.
Or, did Scott actually do it? Is this entire episode a massive red herring to distract us before the finale next week?
We have to unpack all of this because there are so many dense layers of deception here. This entire episode was an intricate dance of shifting blame, avoiding the truth, and constructing false narratives.
Let us get into the segments.
Right. Which means we need to look at the psychology of these choices. We have to talk about whether these people are actually trying to heal or if they are just hiding. Our first segment, healing or hiding.
I'm going to react emotionally first, as always, because my heart is bleeding for Mary.
Go for it.
Let us look at her. Is her fierce, absolute, self-sacrificing dedication to her children genuine healing? Is it the purest, most selfless form of maternal love? Or, and hear me out because this is dark,
No, here it comes.
is she hiding behind the martyrdom of motherhood so she does not have to face the cold, hard fact that she voluntarily gave up her entire promising writing career and that the man she chose to marry is a literal monster?
Oh, that is a read. That is a deep psychological read. You were pulling no punches today.
Think about it. She literally said early on in the season that her greatest story was her happily ever after with Howard. She romanticized her life as a suburban stay-at-home mom because the reality of her failure as a writer was too painful to process. She gave up her ambition. She hid in the background while Nancy sparkled. Is she clinging to these kids so desperately because they are the only tangible proof that her massive life sacrifices were not a total embarrassing waste?
I think you are hitting the absolute core of her character.
Right.
If she admits out loud that Howard is a sociopath who never respected her and was actively sleeping with her best friend, she has to admit that her entire adult life, her entire identity, has been a fraudulent waste of time.
Total waste.
Motherhood is her shield. It is a noble, unassailable shield. Nobody in society can criticize a mother fighting tooth and nail for her kids. It perfectly distracts her from the fact that her marriage was a toxic, rotting wasteland.
Exactly.
But if we are talking about the art of hiding, we have to turn the snark on Howard.
Read him. Read him to absolute filth. Tear him down.
Howard is the undisputed king of hiding in plain sight. He hides behind the carefully curated aesthetic of the perfect doting family man, the rugged intellectual professor who just wants a quiet, fresh start in Ohio.
With his little cardigans.
He uses the aesthetics of a good husband, the cardigans, the making breakfast for the kids, to completely mask his psychopathy. He tells Mary during their arguments, "I want our family to work."
He does not mean it.
Not because he actually feels love or attachment to them, but because they are literal props in his stage play. They provide him with societal cover. A man with a wife and kids is trusted. A single man lurking around is suspicious.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. He needs the wife and kids to look normal to the outside world, to the university board, to the police.
Exactly.
It is exactly like what we were saying about the therapy spiral earlier. Some people go into the office and perform the act of healing using all the right buzzwords without actually doing the internal work.
Wow. Yes.
Howard performs the act of being a family man, but if you look closely, there is absolutely nothing behind his eyes. It is terrifying.
It is a chilling performance. And let us connect that back to Mary's pill usage. We judge her for the Adderall, but was the pill popping just a desperate coping mechanism?
Oh, for sure.
Was she popping pills just to artificially numb the intense cognitive dissonance of living a life she secretly hated? She needed the chemical energy just to keep up the exhausting facade of the happy housewife.
It is all just masking. Everyone is masking. Which brings us to the second segment, Accountability Olympics.
Let the games begin.
Babes, nobody, and I mean nobody in this universe is taking an ounce of responsibility for their actions. It is the Accountability Olympics, and everyone is disqualified.
It is a race to the bottom of the moral barrel, and I am passionately, without hesitation, awarding the gold medal in deflection to Howard Simpson.
It is not even a contest.
It really is not. He's an Olympian, a generational talent at being awful.
A prodigy of toxicity.
He poisoned his own daughter, put her in a hospital bed, and flip the narrative in 3 seconds flat to make Mary look like an unfit, negligent mother.
Incredible speed, honestly.
He gets caught dead to rights with the murder victim's ring, the woman he was having an illicit affair with, and he somehow flips it to make Mary look like a jealous, unhinged stalker who stole it to frame him.
It is sick.
It is coercive control at its absolute peak. He takes his own horrific sins and hands them to Mary like a gift she asked for.
It is sickening to watch.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I have to point out Mary's embarrassing lack of accountability regarding her Nancy obsession. Babes, we have to own our mess.
Oh, she definitely needs to own it.
If you are a mess, own it. She got caught red-handed stealing her dead best friend's monogrammed handkerchiefs, designer clothes, and earrings. And when the detective rightfully calls her out on it, she tries to softly play it off as innocent intrigue.
Innocent intrigue. Ma'am, you are committing grand larceny and identity theft in a Marriott courtyard. You cannot call that intrigue.
Babes, own your mess. If you are a suburban kleptomaniac who desperately wants to wear your witch friend's Tom Ford perfume because you hate your own life, just say that. Speak your truth.
Speak your truth, Mary.
Do not act like it is a quirky, harmless character trait. The detective was looking at her like she belonged in a locked psych ward.
I have a serious question for you, though, regarding accountability. Let us push back on Eleanor. Does Eleanor deserve a medal for accountability here?
That is tough.
Because she is the only one who takes action. She forces Robert to finally hold his corrupt father accountable. She refuses to let the bad press excuse fly.
That is true.
She forces the wealthy, insulated family to actually face the music, risk their reputation, and get the cops involved to catch a killer.
I mean, yes, technically she held them accountable. But what about her own accountability to her friend? She went completely behind Mary's back.
She did.
Mary made a devastating, soul-crushing choice to surrender to Howard to protect her kids from foster care, and Eleanor decided from her high horse that she knew better. Which leads me to our next segment. If we were in their group chat.
Oh, the chaos, the absolute havoc I would wreak in this group chat. Inserting ourselves into this deeply flawed, toxic dynamic, what would you even say? How do you approach these women?
I would be the friend sending unhinged, all-caps text messages at 3 a.m.
You definitely would be.
I would be texting Mary, "Leave him, sis. He poisoned your child. Do not pass go. Pack a duffel bag. I am outside in the Hyundai with the engine running. Let's go."
The Hyundai.
I would be trying to physically extract her from that house by her hair if I had to.
I would be dropping the shady side-eye emojis at Eleanor, endlessly, reacting to every single thing she says with a question mark.
Why? Because she snitched.
Because look, I logically get it. Eleanor did the morally righteous thing by going to the police about a murderer, but if my best friend told me, in tears, barefoot in the street, that she was sacrificing her freedom, her safety, and her truth to keep her vulnerable children out of the system.
Right.
And I secretly went behind her back, called the cops anyway, and directly caused her kids to get taken away by DCFS.
Oof, yeah. When you lay it out like that, it is really bad.
That group chat is done. You do not make that monumental of a choice for a mother. Eleanor blew up Mary's entire life because Eleanor could not handle the internal discomfort of the injustice of Nancy's death.
So true.
Her actions were righteous, sure, but it was a massive, unforgivable betrayal of Mary's trust. She played God with Mary's family.
But wait, this proves that the detective was 100% right. Let us bring back the detective's savage read, "You are not friends."
Why, definitely not.
Both of us agree that detectives spill the ultimate truth. If we were in this group chat, I would start so much drama just by asking direct, uncomfortable questions. No more secrets.
Just burning it all down.
I would text, "Hey, Nancy, notice my diamond ring is missing. Did you see it in Howard's pocket? Hey, Mary, why do you smell exactly like Nancy's signature scent today?"
Hey, Howard, notice you needed a step stool to reach the coffee mugs today. Weird, since you easily reached the mint tin on the top shelf yesterday.
Just chaotic, direct confrontation. Call it all out. None of this passive-aggressive Midwestern suburban whispering. Expose the rot.
Which brings us to the final and potentially messiest part of the show, Snark Squad reality checks.
Ooh, my favorite.
This is where we drop our boldest, most unexpected takes about the dynamics and decisions in this episode. And knowing us, I know we are not going to agree on this. We are about to fight.
Bring it on.
We definitely will not agree. Here is my hot take, and I am standing 10 toes down on it. Mary's weird, immersive hotel roleplay actually did plant the seed for Nancy's murder.
Oh, absolutely not. Nope. I am fundamentally rejecting this premise. Stop talking.
Let me finish my thesis.
No.
By constantly pretending to be Nancy, putting on her expensive clothes, wearing her jewelry, and demanding Howard call her Nancy while they were intimate, she actively showed Howard how desirable Nancy's life was.
Stop.
She effectively handed him the emotional and physical blueprint for the affair. She literally eroticized her best friend for her husband.
That is victim blaming.
You cannot do that. Blur those boundaries so aggressively and then act completely shocked when your sociopathic husband decides he wants the real wealthy thing instead of the sad, broke understudy.
That is victim blaming the fabulator. I am fiercely, violently disagreeing with you. Howard was already a broken, terrible, abusive man.
I am not denying that.
Remember, Jenny, he threw his ex-wife down a flight of stairs and permanently scarred her before he ever met Mary or Nancy.
Yes, he is awful.
Mary was just a profoundly bored, repressed, depressed housewife trying to miraculously spice up a dead marriage with a man who gave her absolutely nothing emotionally. She did not hand him a blueprint for murder. She just unfortunately gave him a convenient outlet for his pre-existing sociopathy.
I still think she opened the door.
Do not blame Mary for Howard being a demon from the underworld.
I am not blaming her for the murder. I am blaming Howard for the murder. But I am saying she carelessly opened a very dark, dangerous door in their marriage. It is cause and effect. You play with fire, you get burned.
Disagree. Strongly.
But let us move to our second massive debate. The anonymous tip about Scott Reed. The twist at the very end of the hour. What is your read on this? Because my mind is spinning.
I think the show is pulling a fast one on us. I think Scott Reed might actually be the killer.
Really? You are falling for that.
We know he has a dark, horrific, legally documented abusive past with Nancy. He physically assaulted her when she was younger. He has always been creepily obsessed with her. And think about the PI's findings.
What about them?
The PI explicitly said the killer dragged her with one arm. We all assumed it was Howard's bad shoulder. But what if Scott has an injury? What if the guy is missing an arm or has nerve damage?
That is a stretch.
What if Scott saw Nancy walking at the park, confronted her about the past, she rejected him, and he violently snapped in a crime of passion? It makes sense.
No, babes, I am so sorry, but you are falling directly into the writer's trap. You are taking the bait.
I'm taking the bait.
I am entirely convinced that Howard orchestrated that anonymous tip. Howard is, as we keep saying over and over, 10 steps ahead of everyone else.
Okay.
Remember, Howard was having an affair with Nancy. He had physical access to the crime scene. He took her ring. What if he planted forensic evidence at the park to frame Scott weeks ago?
Oh my God.
Howard is smart. He knows Scott is the absolute perfect fall guy because of his well-known abusive history with Nancy. The police will so easily, lazily believe the abusive stepdad did it.
That is so dark.
I bet Howard leaked that video footage to the news himself to save his own skin the second he saw the cops walking up his driveway.
But Howard looked genuinely surprised and panicked when the cops arrested him on the porch.
Yeah.
He looked at Mary with pure hatred because he honestly thought Mary turned him in. If he had the Scott Reed tip ready to go, why would he be so mad at Mary?
Because he is an actor. We just talked about this. He literally faked being a calm, battered husband in the hospital waiting room to fool the cops. He probably set the anonymous tip on an automated time delay just in case Mary ever betrayed him, or just in case the cops ever found the shoulder evidence. He is a mastermind of misery.
Ugh, my brain is melting. The internet is going absolutely crazy right now. The theories are wild. Some people think it is Robert's corrupt dad who hired a hitman.
Oh, that is an interesting one.
Some people think it is Mary and Howard's teenage son, Marcus, protecting his dad. We are going to be spiraling, overthinking, and debating this in our group chats until the finale drops next week.
We truly are. But unfortunately, babes, that is all the time we have to break down this show today. My voice is getting hoarse from yelling about Howard.
Same. Snark Squad, thank you so much for hanging out with us, drinking your beautifully garnished Aperols, and spiraling with us through this absolute beautiful mess of a television show. We appreciate you more than you know.
Make sure you share this breakdown with your messiest friend. You know the exact one I am talking about.
Yeah.
The one who would absolutely steal your monogrammed handkerchiefs and wear your perfume behind your back.
Send it to them right now.
Send this to them without context. And please drop us a rating and a review. It legitimately helps us fund our future bartending classes so we do not have to resort to finding sugar daddies.
Yes, 5 stars only, babes. If you leave 4 stars, you are a Howard.
To tie it all together, babes, we started out this hour talking about the heavy, exhausting emotional lifting of therapy. We leveled up our mixology skills with some basic citrus garnishes and sticky floors.
Very sticky floors.
And somehow, we ended up deeply dissecting a husband who poisons his own child to win an argument, and a wife who cosplays as her dead best friend to feel alive. We are all just imperfect, deeply flawed, but hopefully thriving.
Thriving in the soft chaos, that is the motto. But before we log off, I want to leave you with one final deeply provocative thought to mull over before the finale next week.
What is it?
I want you to really think about this. Marcus, Mary and Howard's teenage son. So remember earlier in the season, he looked at Mary and told her, "I am on your side," without even knowing the full story of the murder.
Yeah, that was weird.
He did not ask questions. He just blindly aligned with his mother. What does that kid actually know about his dad's dark side that we have not seen yet? Does he know Howard threw Jenny down the stairs? Does he know more than he is letting on?
Oh, wow. That just gave me full body chills.
Right. Keep your eyes on Marcus.
Yay!
Until next time, babes, stay shady.
Stay iconic.
And we will see you on the Snark side.